And joining us now here on the set is our good friend, the Attorney General of the great state of Mississippi, Lynn Fitch. Good morning there, General.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
I saw you navigating your way over from the pavilion, and we so appreciate you coming on. Just got off the stage.
Just got off the stage. It's always great to be here.
Sure.
See so many people, and, having not been here last year for all of us, it's great to have the personal connections, be able to talk with people, and you can tell by the turnout, people are really glad to be able to see one another and, have face-to-face interaction.
It is uniquely Mississippi.
Absolutely.
It's just so awesome. But we appreciate you coming. So your message today, I caught some of it in between being on the show. What's the central theme of your message today, General?
Well, we have so much going on, Gerard, at the office, representing Mississippians. But I want to talk about a couple of big ones.
Okay.
One, you and I talked about a lot, and so graciously appreciate all the outstanding coverage on the human trafficking initiative to be the solution. That has proved already to be very successful. People are calling the number. The awareness is starting. People are understanding that it is happening in our state, and that these mostly young women are victims.
Yeah.
And then it's really on us to step in and help them. That don't be silent, don't sit on the sideline. It is perfectly acceptable to call in and say, I think this young woman might be a victim. And then allow us to go in and do the rescues, because that's how we've made so many of these rescues, and we've had many, many rescues, which is exciting. We've been able to extract these young girls from these horrific situations. But the tips have been phenomenal, giving us that opportunity.
Yeah.
So it's just been so exciting to know that the outreach is very productive. And, as you and I talked about, these young victims, they're somebody's daughter.
Yep.
They're somebody's granddaughter, sister, and they didn't ask to be in this situation. They never knew that this family member was going to traffic them, and they would be caught in this bubble that they couldn't get out. So they're looking for people to trust and people to help them in their next steps in life.
And what we've learned in discussions with the victims is many of them didn't even know that they were being victimized. They didn't even realize the situation they were in was not a standard way of life. Right. That disturbed me when I heard that. Like, they didn't even know being abused in ways that are just horrible, and really didn't even know that. Had to learn. No, there is a different side of life, a different way of life. But what we've seen through your efforts, the efforts of DPS, law enforcement, justice, and now the private sector is taking an interest. Do you feel like that is what is causing an increase in the tips and just more awareness, more education about this problem in our state? Is that contributing to that?
Absolutely. Because early on when we would talk about it, people were almost in denial.
Yeah.
We don't have that going on in our state.
Right.
That can't be happening in my community. Certainly not at, seeing that at a convenience store, or that child getting on and off the school bus is really not in that situation. When in fact, they really are.
Yeah.
And so people now feeling like, okay, I recognize the signs. I understand what I'm looking for now, and I have a landing base. I can call, I can give this tip, I can text in, or that billboard or the PSA or the information said, here's what I need to do, and now I know where to go. So I just as you said, I truly think it's important because everyone's embraced it.
Yeah.
From the public side, law enforcement, and certainly now having the private sector be engaged is very key.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So let's turn our focus to the abortion case. I mean, this is gaining national attention. I frequently read national publications and news sources, and it's referred to as the Mississippi abortion case, I guess. Help us out a little bit. Exactly what are you suing for, and what do you expect? How do you handicap that? What's the outcome you're looking for?
Right. So this case had been percolating. It's a 15-week abortion case.
Yep.
Came up a few years ago. Again, appeals going through the process, and it sat on the United States Supreme Court list for a number of months. So when they pulled it and said we're going to hear the Mississippi case in May, we were thrilled. We were so excited that we'd been blessed to have this opportunity to represent our state, but also to represent the nation, because this is a very impactful case.
Yes.
And the real nexus is certainly this is about states' interests. It's about the rule of law. It's about what the state can and cannot do. And certainly time and time again, the Supreme Court has said the state has legitimate interest in protecting different groups, different people within their state. This, too, is a protection matter that's state law. So if you've got your legislators you've elected, your governor you've elected, they are the process.
Sure.
And they put it in place. So here, it's an opportunity to say we're protecting the interests of our state. We're protecting our most vulnerable. We're protecting the mothers, and we're certainly protecting the integrity of the healthcare profession.
Yeah.
So that all is very key, and if you look at it all together and you think it's been 50-plus years since we've had the discussion, and what has changed? Well, certainly society has changed in 50 years, and the science has changed, and it's marching forward. The courts, we all need to be in lockstep in how we allow the states to truly protect the interests of the members and representatives of their state.
Sure. Well, are you in touch with any other attorneys general from the other states that have an interest in this as well? I got to believe you are, huh?
Oh, absolutely. This is such as you said,
it's high profile.
Nationwide interest. All the attorney generals of the Republican Party just joined into an amicus brief yesterday. Okay. Very exciting. We look to have, Gerard, probably 50 or more amicus briefs in this case from different groups. We've had Senator Hawley, Senator Lee, and Senator Cruz have already filed an amicus brief. They've already filed a brief. So we're looking to have those come in pretty fast because, again, it is so powerful, and it, again, will affect and save so many lives. It will empower so many women, and it will certainly make our medical profession be engaged in how they can protect the unborn, the babies, the women. And then what's next steps? How do we continue to help these children once they're born to move into very safe, strong livelihoods and become, citizens of whatever state that they might live in?
What sort of pushback have you gotten from the Biden administration, if any, and that you could share with us?
So far we've really not gotten anything. I think other than some of the rhetoric and some of the articles.
Which is just politically measured. Essentially,
not about the case law.
That's right.
It's not about the rule of law.
Yeah.
It is certainly more from a political nature.
Yeah.
But what we have seen are people that really came off of the sidelines and said, "Wow, we want to help. It's the Mississippi case.
Good.
The Mississippi case." We look to argue this case in November. We're waiting for a date specific. We're excited about that, to be there in front of the United States Supreme Court, and we suspect that they will rule probably early spring or as late as June before they leave their term of court.
Well, we look forward to tracking and following that because that is a very big deal, and it could be revelational, honestly, in the Supreme Court. Who knows where that'll go, but you got to feel good about it. This just sounds to me like this is just fundamental states' rights federalism. I mean, that's the issue here. It's not really so much about abortion as it is that. Is that true?
That's true. That is the real nexus of the case, which then goes into, we're saying to the court as well, the question is, what is viability?
Yeah.
So what is the line, George?
Which has changed.
It's changed. So it's a very dotted line, and it doesn't mesh with the state's legitimate interests, which they have ruled on time and time again, that states have the right to protect the legitimate interests of their states.
Sure.
And doing it through the correct process, legislative process. So I think once we get some answers there, too, and we get new clear boundaries, and it goes back to the states to protect the interests of all that live in their respective states, it is going to be a game changer.
Yeah.
It is going to affect everybody across our country.
You got just a couple of minutes left. General, what else is kind of high priority in your office these days?
Well, we're doing a lot of things on some of the bad actors. Certainly, we're going after these folks that are child exploitation. And as we knew during the pandemic, we had more and more that came out. We're going after those bad actors. We're taking them down. We're putting them away.
Yeah.
Many times coming hand in that, the drugs. We're going after the drug actors. And then many times they're tied in as well to our human trafficking. But, even from a different level, we're looking at, Big Pharma. When they're not acting responsibly, and when it hurts Mississippians, that's my job with my team to go after these folks. We're suing the insulin companies, the manufacturers, and some of the pharmacy benefit managers. And let me tell you why. Because we've got 13% of our population are diabetics.
Yeah.
And so what they're having to do is they're either having to ration their insulin, they're either not taking it at all, or they're using expired insulin, and they don't live. The real answer is the health consequences that go with it are extraordinarily detrimental to their health, to the health care, and the bottom line is you die.
Yeah.
You die if you don't get insulin.
And so in my years in business, that's what the lawyers would always describe as gross negligence, right? So that's the level to which it rises, which gives you a pretty good shot in the courts, and hopefully they'll cooperate with you. General, thanks so much for coming on today. Good to see you.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Appreciate it. Attorney General Lynn Fitch has been our guest.